What do you guys think of Business Horizons? Do you think it was better than last year's? But one thing I saw about this year's Business Horizons is that Coca-Cola, they had a smaller booth.
Compared to last year?
Yeah.
Why? Why is that?
Usually they have they take 3 spots, but this time they went to the old one,
Yeah,
old ballroom,
yeah.
and they have like tiny spot and only one recruiter.
What's up with that?
Maybe they didn't notice we weren't good enough.
Maybe.
Or maybe they are just not good enough for us. I feel like maybe we could have. I don't know, like Coca-Cola.
They probably just don't see potential here. Why would they invest so much into getting all these booths if they're only going to get like one person out of the whole thing?
Just one company cannot be used to generalize the value or I guess the status of our college as a whole. It's kind of a originalization based on one company. I mean, like for example, Big Four, all the major, well, like for example, finance and audit companies.
Because in the business school, they hire most people out of accounting and finance. So the Big Four need to have big booths. Because they're almost secured a job. Like accounting has like above 90% placement rate. Obviously, they're gonna spend so much more money into getting booths. Even in other majors, like for example, Ferguson is the one that hires the most out of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
They have a small booth and they only bring 3 people, and they hire 20 people from marketing every year. That's like the biggest hire for marketing out of a company.
So when the companies like they take like 3 spots at the same time, if they take less spot, maybe more companies would come in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but maybe they're also trying to limit competition.
What was your top 3 companies?
It was, I mean, obviously Big Four is accounting and finance major, but I don't know. It's just like the way Polo brought up a different perspective, kind of is making me question some things that I've been taking for granted.
Like what?
Why Big Four accounting firms has such a big has had so far, big presence in Business Horizon and all of these pamphlet events, because for what is now obvious reason, they hire a lot of people because they just need a lot of people. And to me, it's like there's some kind of superficialness to it now, the interaction between recruiters from Big Four. It's not as sincere and meaningful as I thought once it would have been. So I think it's kind of
talking about a specific company that you had a
well, I can't go into too specifics, but I mean I've been getting the sense that there's kind of a that when you go into a certain extent of the interaction, you feel like, oh wait, it doesn't feel like really a meaningful meaningful personal interaction. It's just like kind of falling apart. You feel the edge. It's kind of fringe when it's like kind of fading away, and it's like, yeah, I feel like they're not that interested in me as I thought, because it's like, heck, they just need someone as an associate to carry out all these mundane tasks, and who cares as long as they are willing to do the job, right? Really, as they're obedient and compliant. And like Polo said, they need a lot of people, right? They do a lot of work, and also I had a chance to talk to the lead executive director of Student Career. His name is Stuart Meese. You probably get the pamphlet Career Connect that sends out. Yeah, he does that. And I had a chance to talk to him, and he gave me a book about searching for careers, like the jobs and whatnot. And there it says, like one sentence that I remember clearly is that there's like one fact that we find it all of us as a college students find it hard to swallow, is that companies, they try to draw us in because they want to make profit off of us. Why would they hire you if they cannot make profit off of us? And that's kind of a really uncomfortable fact that we want to acknowledge in the field of business as a potential new hire. Like we're like, oh man, we're looking for all the opportunities, but in a way, opportunities on the flip side is a bigger opportunity for companies to make profit, because why would they hire you, right? Again, and it's kind of a great reality check, I think. Like once in a while, I'm like, man, this company and this job looks so promising, or like this position, like 3-4 years down the road for me, and it's like, well, remember they're trying to make profit off of me. So always, I'm trying to remind myself. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I feel like I always have that in mind.
I forget it.
That they're always.
I know.
By the end of the day, they're trying to make money, and that's the reason why they hire the best of the best.
Exactly. Yeah.
The ones who show the most potential, the ones who will probably make the most amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, for example, sales companies, if you don't know how to talk to them, they won't hire you because they need someone who can do all the things that a salesman's supposed to do,
Mhm.
because they'll be like, oh, this guy already has like the relationship skills, he talks, he has the confidence, he has all these things, and let's say he's only missing one or two, we can teach him that, and that's it. It's so much less money into teaching him this, but he'll turn out like the amount of money he'll bring in is much
Right.
higher. They want to invest as little possible to make the most amount of money.
That makes sense. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's always money.
Yes, it is business at the end of the day.
True.
But I feel like going back to the question of the, like, when the big fours are not treating you as
Yeah.
you were expecting to, like, how are they expecting us to like work for them if they don't show the interest in us? Well, we don't even see the passion in their personality. So,
Yeah.
like, what makes you get out of the bed every day and go work for them?
I agree, and I feel like I mean, it may be just one instance or kind of a momentarily thing,
Yeah.
but I feel like there's another implication to that. So it's like, we talk about, I don't know if you guys remember from economics, but like there's certain instances when it's almost monopolistic. I think what is it called, like free market, like so in like free market economy, when certain stores so popular, right? Like restaurant, like they in the extreme cases they can mistreat customers and not be penalized for it because they have so many customers to serve anyways, beside that person, right? Similar situation, I think, in a way, Big Four. They have so many people recruiting, right? Potential hires, people want to work for them. At the same time, they need many people, but they have a lot of applicants. So they mistreat a couple applicants and they feel like, oh, I'm mistreated, I don't feel valued. They're
Not a
like,
big deal,
oh,
right? Yeah.
next person, please. Let's move on. I feel like that might be the case.
That kind of sucks, but
Yeah, I know.
I feel like
That's
that's
the
a
reality.
Yeah,
reality,
exactly.
yeah.
So that's what I think, and that's why I've been actually talking a lot. I first talked to big, except for Deloitte, Big Four accounting firms, and then I went off and talked to a lot of smaller firms. And in that sense, I learned a lot more than I would have. And thanks again to Professor Skripek. Yeah, he stopped by. He told me like 2 firms that I should talk to, and yeah, I mean, firms like smaller firms because they value their employees more than big companies. So it's a good counterbalance, I guess.
So do you think that starting your career in a small company would be better because you would learn the passion, then after that you can go to a bigger corporation and learn the process?
I don't know. That's a great question. What do you think?
Well, that's what Greg said,
That's what I said.
or TA.
Mhm.
He said that he liked more going into a smaller firm than going to a Big Four, specifically because the Big Four have different cultures and they're crazier, and like their workload is so much more intense as opposed to the smaller firms. And so you could start on a small firm and get the experience, and then just from there, if you want to, move on to Big Four as a jump.
So, would you do that if you're an accounting major?
Yeah, I would do that if I was an accounting
Smaller?
major. I would go for a smaller firm.
Like that, Cherry Becker?
Yeah, Terry Record, and then from there, if I want to, it's like once I have the experience or if I think this place doesn't have any more potential for me, then I would move on.
What about compensation perspective?
I think at first you can't really be picky. You have to just go for the experience.
So you wouldn't negotiate your first salary?
Yeah, you would negotiate your salary, but
I mean, your first job.
I would negotiate.
You would?
Yeah. Obviously, you don't have a lot of leverage, but you still have to negotiate it. Because talking about your salary proves that you're capable of talking about awkward situations, like uncomfortable. It's always uncomfortable to talk about money with your employer. So if you can talk about that with your employer, it shows a skill that maybe not a lot of people have.
I can respect that. That's a great.
Yeah, like last week I had a presentation with NetApps, and the recruiter said that you should always negotiate. Because what's the worst thing that can happen? It's a no.
Yeah, the worst thing
So,
you get
yeah.
is a no. They already hired you, so.
Like, you always negotiate, even if it's like $200 or $100. So, always negotiate. You don't necessarily have to negotiate the salary. You can negotiate vacation time, or bonuses,
Right.
stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. Can I what is it? Bring back the point about the Big Four accounting firm, because I just realized something. I remember something. One of the point was that although you work a lot, the workload comes with the experience because you have to work a lot to learn a lot. That's some of the opinions that I've been getting from the people who worked and still work at Big Four. So what do you think about that? that you working a lot benefits you in the long run because you have done a lot of work, which becomes a basis for your experience in your career.
That sounds good, but I think you can. It doesn't sound that efficient because you're wasting so much energy on your work, and by the end of the day, you won't have energy for yourself. Like, what about your personal pleasure? It's not all about the work. Like, you could go to a small firm and work, I don't know, 30% less, and still get experience. But by the end of the day, you can still go home and like go to the gym or do something you want and pursue your hobbies.
Okay.
So I think that would be beneficial.
I think that would be beneficial. That would be ideal for me.
I don't know.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, from my perspective, it's like once you start your career and you're young and you have time, you should work as much as you can. So then you have more time later. Because you have that time to spend and you get that experience, and if you want to move on to a smaller firm, you have all this knowledge like that you wouldn't get if you start in a smaller firm and you have less work to do. And I feel like you get more experience and you should work as much as you can right now.
But
Yeah.
then you're gonna regret it because if you ever talk to someone who's older, all they say, "Oh, I should have done this when I was younger." Because if you just work, you won't be able to experience these things that you can only experience now. Like you're not gonna
While
be
you're
50
young,
years old
yeah.
and go jump off a plane, do some parachuting or something. You're only gonna do that when you're young.
Although
Yeah,
I've
that's
seen
just
You literally only live once.
yeah. Well, then again, I've seen plenty of old guys jump off a plane.
Yeah, obviously there is a possibility of doing it when you're older, but you will always regret things. You'll say, "Why didn't I do that? Like, I could have worked less and like gone out more with my friends or spent
I
some
feel
more
like
time with
people
other
people say that because they worked a lot.
Yeah, because they worked a
They-
lot.
Well, okay, yeah. Some people may say that, why didn't I try harder? Some people say that too.
Yeah.
That's
So-
yeah, they're
So it's like, I feel
You
like,
just gotta find your balance.
yeah, I do, I agree. I do actually still do a lot of research about like the people's testimony, like behind working for Big Four, including Deloitte, actually for the research at least. And I've learned, what I've been seeing a lot is people say it's a matter of perspective, and as you guys have been saying. So some people prefer to make the rapid progression to a point where they're like, okay, I'm satisfied, I can move on, or I can actually get to that higher level, like partner, level in Big Four, which is like a big deal. Or just other people, it's like, oh, it's not worth it, and they just move on. But either case, when they start off with Big Four, they say that although it's hard for first associate years, you get that option. So you get that luxurious position where you get to decide whether if you can move down to the smaller firm. Because smaller firms, they will definitely take accountants from or any employees from Big Four accounting firms. So what do you think about that? It's to simplify. If you start in Big Four, people say it's a great place to start because you got so many more options than any other places. Although it doesn't really apply.
like
to
that's
you,
true. Yeah.
just give it an option.
Like I've talked to a couple of friends who works in Big Four, and he said that those companies are a good place to start because you learn a variety of skills, and you can take that to the next job
Yeah.
you're gonna do. I don't know with whatever you're gonna do in the future. So I think if those big companies have the resources to train you and educate you, you can take those and go somewhere else after 2 or 3 years. You don't have to stick to them like for 10 years
Right.
if you don't want to. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's why they're always hiring.
Uh-huh.
So they need like fresh
Yeah.
minds to the company. I don't know. You can move somewhere else and be a manager, and you probably gonna work less if you're a manager.
Yeah.
Because you're basically not doing those like tasks,
Yeah.
like small tasks, but you'll be managing people because you already have the knowledge.